powerful. Use it. With this motivational thought, I welcome you all in my channel. Today in this video, I am going to present a lecture on the third part of class 9 chapter tissue, that is meristematic tissue. Thank you.
So now we will talk about the plant tissue and animal tissue separately. So first we will talk about plant tissue. Okay. Now in plant tissue also you have many different types of plant tissues. So let us look at the broad classification of plant tissue. Now broadly plant tissues are classified into two types, that is meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Now names might be quite fancy for you, might be wondering what does this meristematic tissue and what are these permanent tissue. Okay, well, as I mentioned before, work with it in biology, you will always have names which have tricky and topsy-turvy. But again, when you actually understand them, you also get to know how did it get this mean, right? So we are going to discuss about the meristematic tissue in detail. So let us see what is meristematic tissue. Okay, and let us see what are meristematic tissue. Let me give you a hint about the name of the meristematic tissue, and I am invited what is the meaning of this term meristematic, and then let me see if you can guess something that what is it going to be. Now this meristematic tissue is derived from a Greek word merist, okay, which actually mean that divide. Okay, so now can you guess what this tissue going to be? I think you can get something which can divide. Okay, like so simple to remember meristematic tissue. Merist means divide, so something which can divide should be meristematic tissue. That is your guess, right? Now let us see what is meristematic tissue in actually. Okay, meristematic tissue definition. Meristematic tissue is the plant tissue that has the ability to divide actively throughout its life. Okay, this is a proper definition of meristematic tissue. Okay, in short, the group of cells that have ability to divide are meristematic tissue. Okay, the term ability to divide, if you can write only these three terms, that is satisfied. Okay, the meaning of meristematic tissue. Okay, now we will know more about meristematic tissue. Okay, in the previous slide we already know about the group of cells that have ability to divide are known as meristematic tissue. Okay, now as I mentioned in my previous slide, that is what is the term. Okay, that in the case of a plant, the growth is limited to specific regions, and those regions are known as the dividing regions. So what kind of cells should be present in those regions? The cell which can divide, right? So those cells are known as, so that those cells group up together to form meristematic tissue. Okay, so these tissues, so now if you look at the next point, they are present only in certain regions, so plant growth is restricted to those regions. These regions are known as meristems. Okay, that's mean are those regions of the plant where the growth is more, because meristems are the region where meristematic tissues are present. So it is very obvious to say that in a plant wherever you have such tissues which have the capability to divide, only their growth will take place. So these kind of tissues are only present in certain region. Okay, the term meristem was coined by Carl William von Nageli. Okay, means Carl William von Nageli coined the term meristem. Okay, now result in primary and secondary growth in plants. Okay, so now you must be wondering what is the primary growth and secondary growth. Okay, let me try to explain it in little more details. So it is said that the primary tissues means when the plant grow from a seed. Okay, that mean at that time the meristematic tissue cells use to divide, and then we can see that plant has increased their height. Okay, and yeah, also root have deeper inside. So it's mean that the increase in root and increase in shoot is known as primary growth. Okay, now I talk about the word secondary growth. Okay, I am talking about the thickness of the plant. You would have also seen that initially maybe it was thin, but later this become thick. Again, when the plant becomes a tree, somewhat like this, then it become even thicker. So if you see the thickness also increase, right? So this is known as the growth, is known as the secondary growth. Okay, so the primary growth is always lengthwise and secondary growth implies widthwise. Okay, so now I think you will understand it clearly. If you have not understood it, so please repeat this slide and then read the NCERT book. Okay, now let us look at the characteristic of meristematic tissue. Okay, so what are the specific characteristics which all meristematic tissue generally show the meristematic tissues are? The cells of these tissues are commonly called meristems. Okay, and their cells are very small in size. Okay, they have very small and few vacuoles. If you can say that they have no vacuoles. Okay, and the next characteristic is the protoplasm of the cell is very dense. Okay, the term protoplasm we already used in the previous lesson, the fundamental unit of life. We can already explain the term protoplasm very clearly. Okay, if you can't understand the term protoplasm, then please go over previous video. Okay, now next term is the meristematic tissue is living and thin walled. Okay, next term, they possesses a single large and prominent nucleus. Okay, you can see this by this figure. Okay, this is a microscopic figure where you can see dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. The term prominent means mukhya. Okay, and dense means ghana, means that in the meristematic tissue they have a dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. Okay, now we will move on next topic, that is our types of meristematic tissues. Okay, there are three types of meristematic tissue. Okay, first one is your apical meristem, second one is your intercalary meristem, and last one is your lateral meristem. Okay, now you can see by this figure meristematic tissue is divided into three types. Okay, now this one is your intercalary meristem, this one is your lateral meristem, okay, and this your apical meristem in the root and in the shoot. Okay, this part is known as shoot. Shoot means stem. Okay, and this one part is known as root. Okay, this shown you the root apical meristem and this one shoot apical meristem. Okay, by this figure you have something you can understand. Okay, you can guess what are their function and where they are located. Okay, by this picture. Okay, now we will deal their location and functions in brief. Okay, now apical meristem. Okay, location. It is located at the growing tips of root and shoot. Okay, its function. It increases the length of the shoots and the roots. Okay, it's mean the apical meristem tissue is located at this part and this part. Okay, this part. This is your stem part. Okay, shoot means the apical meristem is present at your aerial parts. Okay, the term aerial means growing tips of root and shoot. Okay, and their function is to increase the length of the shoot and root. Okay, now next one is it is also responsible for linear growth of the plant. It means your plant is growing only this way. Okay, not this way and not this way. Why? Because of the apical meristem. Okay, means apical meristem is responsible for linear growth of the plant. Okay, so our next one is intercalary meristem. Okay, in intercalary meristem their location is it is present at the base of the leaf or internodes on twigs. Okay, now you can see by this picture, this is an example of bamboo tree. You can see this in bamboo and you can also see in sugarcane. Okay, this part is known as nodes and this one is known as internodes. Okay, so intercalary meristem tissues are present in the between of internodes and nodes. Okay, internodes, this part. Okay, here is your present of intercalary meristem. Okay, now we can imagine what are their functions. Okay, their function is to be increase the length of the internodes. Okay, now we will see what is their functions. Okay, so it is responsible for growth of leaves and internodes. Okay, now it is clear that internodes is increased due to this tissue, means intercalary meristem. Okay, lateral meristem. Our next one is lateral meristem. Okay, first we will see their location. It is present at the lateral sides of stem and roots. Okay, you can see by this picture and this also by this picture. Okay, now this part the here and there is present the lateral meristem, means lateral sides. Okay, you can see by this figure, this figure is in deeply. Okay, by cutting that part and then shown to you. Okay, now its function is to be it increase the girth of stem and root. Okay, this is responsible for increase of the girth. That's why we can see the tree is thicker. Okay, not thin always. Okay, by the lateral meristem we can see the plant is grown in length and then plants are very thick. Why plants are very thick? Because of the lateral meristem. Okay, and yeah, one thing is more, your lateral meristem is of two types. Okay, first one is cock cambium and second one is vascular cambium. Okay, these two parts we will not deal in class 9th. Okay, this part is deal in our higher standard classes. Okay,